Hi, welcome to Baggett's Bread. Today I'm going to teach you how to make homemade pasta. It's easy and it is so delicious. I know it seems confusing. I always thought it was hard to do also, and there are hundreds of recipes all over the place. Some people say use all-purpose flour, others say use double O flour, which is a very soft Italian flour. And I've tried them both, and I did all the work for you, and I have come up with what I think is the best recipe. You can use either one, all-purpose or double O flour. They both work perfectly well. The only thing I find better about the double O flour is it tends to be softer and silkier, which is key, I think, when you make ravioli, something stuffed like that. For everyday pasta, noodles, I think the all-purpose flour works just as well, but I still think the double O flour has a bit of an edge over that. It's a little bit softer after you cook it, but as far as flavor goes, they're both the same. So let's start. If you're going to use all-purpose flour, you're going to measure out. You know I'm big on measuring things with a scale. It's just so much more accurate. So you're going to start out with 11 ounces of all-purpose flour. If you use the double O flour, I like to use 15 ounces. So we're going to put it in our mixer, the flour. And to that, we are going to add 3 whole eggs and 1 egg yolk. And we're going to put that in. And I also did a little experimenting with the eggs to see if it made a difference if we used extra large or large eggs. With the extra large, you might just get a smidge more liquid, and it doesn't matter. I stick with the large eggs because that's what I seem to have around the house more. So you add that in there. You add 2 tablespoons of water and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. Any kind of olive oil will do. It doesn't have to be good olive oil, like extra virgin, although that's what I do like to use. So you put that in, and you use your dough hook. You definitely want the dough hook for this. And you just start mixing it. And you mix it until all the flour is incorporated into the wet ingredients, and it could take a good 5 minutes. So you just have to have a little patience, let it mix. It will all come together after about 5 minutes, and there might be a few crumbly pieces at the bottom. You can just throw those out. As soon as you get a good sized ball, you're all set. So that should look like this. When you're done, you should have a ball of dough like that. And you just put some flour on your board. I have a pastry board, a marble pastry board. And you just make it into a ball, and then you cover it with a bowl. You cover it for about an hour. So after the hour is up, you're going to take it, and you're going to use a bench cutter and cut off. I like to use 5-ounce portions. So you're going to measure it, and it's good 5 ounces. And you're going to take your 5-ounce ball, kind of flatten it out just a little bit. Try to make it kind of into a shape like that, more of like a rectangular shape. And this is where the fun begins. These are pasta rollers. You can get them to go with your KitchenAid Mixmaster. They come in all different sizes. This is just the plain roller. So this will make flat sheets that you can use for lasagna. You use it for ravioli, and you use it before you start making spaghetti. You have to cut the dough, roll it with a roller. And then after that, they have other attachments. There's a tagliatelle, which we're going to use today. A pappardelle, and there is an attachment for capellini, and one for spaghetti. So it depends on what kind of pasta you want to cook. That determines the attachment you're going to use. So let's put the roller in. And it just hooks on like that. Move these out of the way. And on the side of the roller, they have a series of numbers. And you're going to start with number 1. That's the lowest. Get some flour on here. Flour this up really well. Because the one thing you don't want the dough to be wet and stick to the rollers or the cutters, because that is a real mess to clean out. I've made those mistakes, so I hope to spare you the same mistakes. So you're going to turn it on, and you're just going to have it go through. And this is still on number 1 setting. Put more flour on it. And you want to kind of fit the dough to the width of the roller. And try to keep it uniform. So you might need to stretch it a little at the top as it's going through. This is so much fun to do. And then after that, you turn it to number 2. So it keeps getting, the rollers keep compressing, so it's going to get tighter and tighter. That's 2. Now we're going to go on 3. And always make sure that it's still not sticky, because if it starts to get sticky, you want to put a little more flour on it. Now we're going to go to 4. Stretch out just so it stays even. And I'm going to put a little more flour. And I think we'll end up at 5 for this. When you're making ravioli, you want it thinner, probably thinner than this, but we'll do ravioli. Maybe next week we'll do ravioli, and I'll show you that. And that is perfect. It's a perfect length. So when you determine what kind of pasta you want to make, you put that attachment on. And I think I'm going to do tagliatelle. So let's get that one in here. Turn it on. Now this is very important. Before you put your sheet through, you want to make sure it has enough flour on it so it doesn't get stuck in the roller, because then the roller won't work properly. And if you think that this is too long to handle, you can take a bench cutter and just cut it in half and put it through that way. So here we go. Put it into the feeder. And out it comes. Perfect strips. And they're not sticking together. So we're going to put this on our sheet. Add a little flour to it so they don't stick together. You just kind of toss them and lay them out. And then we're going to do the next one. all done. So you can leave it out on your pastry board for about an hour. You can let it dry if you want, and just put a little flour on it to keep them so they don't stick to each other. See, they're really very easy to handle. They don't tear, they just, very easy. But if you're gonna make your pasta right away like we're going to do, I've got a pot of water boiling here, added some salt, and we're gonna throw it right in there. Throw the pasta in for about, I think 30 seconds does it for fresh pasta. It's a very quick process. You don't need to boil it forever. I like to do about 30 seconds to a minute. So let's do that. So I don't know if you can see the pot right here. There, we got it boiling in here. And it should be done right now. So we're just going to take our bowl, you know, like a little colander, a hand colander, and we're going to put it in our bowl. Doesn't it look good? And that's it. So we can either put a little olive oil on it. You can put your sauce on it right away. If you want to eat it plain, you can put a little olive oil on it. If you want a little butter, some nice butter. And mix it up. Just toss it. Add a little Parmesan cheese. And that's it. Homemade pasta. So easy, and it's delicious. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye.